Hi, my name is Rick. I'm an Ostomate double bagger and I have been for the last 15 months. I'd like to share with you how I change my bags and how I prepare myself for it. I have a colostomy and a urostomy. They both speak to me in a different way, so throughout the week I'm changing maybe 1 or 2 times. It could even be up to 3 times. It depends what they're up to. So let's go. Okay, here we go. For my colostomy, I'm using a 2-piece Coloplast. It's like a starfish, which fits nicely over the top of my stoma because it's bulbous. And it's a 2-piece that I use. Which is brilliant. It's a drainable one as well, so that's pretty handy because I might change it or might empty it 3 or 4 times a day. And you may also see that it's slightly cut out to go over my bumps. Got little bumps and crevices here, so this you can move around and you can find the area where you want to put it, and then I just cut a little bit off. Now this is the urostomy one, which is a convex, and that shape because my urostomy sinks in a bit, and again because of the shape of this and because everything is so close to the center of my belly button and all the bumps and lumps from the scarring, you can actually, what I do is cut away areas for where it can go over or around the side of the bumps, so that the base plate can actually sit on the skin and not over it, so you won't get any leaks. It doesn't have a chance to pull away. And that's my urostomy bag, which again is drainable, most of them. And it's also, you can't see, but sometimes I cut it up if I feel that the wafer is getting a bit in a bad way, and then I'll change the bag. Anyway, I'm going to just hook my t-shirt up with my little trusty thing here, clip. It keeps everything out of the way. And there you can see my bags. What I have is gauze. I've got a sink here, got all my bits and pieces over here. With my colostomy bag I normally put in a lubricant because it stops the pancaking, and I can stick that in there and allow that to go through and just scrunch it up a bit. I've got a couple of lights as well that I use to help me see at the bottom of underneath, so I can see where everything is going. There's one here, little light, and one on the wall. So that helps to lubricate the whole bag. I also use adhesive wipes along with the adhesive remover, the spray, and I have a barrier wipe when it's ready to go on to put the bag on. So let's get a cracking. Put your gloves on. Going to do the colostomy first. I sometimes change my bag, my wafer, if it degrades quickly. It depends again on the output and how acidic it is. I might change it 3 times in a week. Certainly the urostomy gets changed a bit more because I have a tablet I take that makes my urine more acidic. It prevents, helps to prevent any UTIs coming. Right, so let's get cracking. just spray this on a bit, and you can generally tell if your hairs need shaving by how much it hurts as you're pulling it away. So I'll do that. I'll take the, at the moment it's a Salts wipe, adhesive wipe. That helps to get all the black off, or the glue that's remaining. Actually, that's the wafer's not too bad. I've got a, like I said, I've got a sink down here. I've got a bag attached to it, so I can put my my bag straight into the blue bag. As you can see, it's quite a bulbous stoma area. I'm not sure if I've got a hernia or not. I prefer not to have one, but a little red today. So I can put I've got water in my sink ready to wipe this down. It can be reasonably rough with these stomas, but you do have to be careful if you put in any paper. This is gauze, which is much softer. If you put any paper near it, you can end up cutting them. So that one's a little bit cut around the edge. And that's a little bit too aggressive, but it can look worse than it is when it's when there's blood around, because water and blood tends to go a lot further than it should. Right, now I've got a kitchen roll that I just damp off and try not to touch the edges. And at this point, if you've got any hairs that are catching, you would shave it. I shave every so often and not all the time, so I don't want to make my skin raw. I will certainly feel like that. There's a little bit of there is a powder you can put on if you do have a problem with a bit of a leak. It's that one. Got a bit of a cut there along the edge of it. That sort of just helps to gel it. Don't often use this, that's why it's looks a bit messy, but it will help anybody else who might have a problem. Right, so that's that. I've already told you about the cut area, which actually goes in here. I sometimes cut these off. At the same time, I should really have put this in next to my skin to warm it up, so that will go in there like that. Still got a bit to do. I tend to try and dry everything off first before I do anything else. Because my gloves are normally wet, I'll take them off to do the next bit. Put those in the bin. Right, just make sure everything is dry. Get my barrier wipe, or rather skin barrier wipe. Just helps to protect the skin a bit. put that round. Because I've got the lights, I can see right underneath, which is pretty important. You can see whether you're getting sore or not. Just make sure everything is covered in all the dents. And dry it off again with one of the books. Okay. Feels okay. Now hopefully there's enough warmth in that base plate. I use the two piece, like I said. These are 50 mils, and they would fit together like that. So you put that next to your skin. So this one I'll bring out, and sometimes I cut these things off because they can get in the way, because I don't actually use a belt. I move this wafer around, or this base plate around, to wherever I feel it fits. That's why I use a two-piece. It's small enough to get onto these two. So here we go, we just cut that off there. Can hinder a bit, can help down the bottom. I'll leave those on. Take that off. Already cut the circle from before. And this will hopefully just go where the lump is. And because it's a star shape, it fits very nicely over the top of this and just sits down. Because you've warmed it up before, the skin and the barrier, it's a nice fit. This one actually is a better fit than my urostomy one, because the urostomy one, it gets smaller and bigger all the time, so you're not absolutely sure whether you've got it all in properly. I'll show you that later. There we go. I think that's in okay. Whoops, looks like we've got a bit of a problem with that. Just wipe that off. I think that's okay. Right, okay, so what I've done is I've put the liquid in, the bottom's done up. I'm going to put this on. Clicks into place. It's called a Mayo click from Coloplast. You can move it around if you want to. Some people have it sideways, tuck it in sideways. I don't get on with that very much. What I normally do is to put a date on it, or a day, like it's Sunday, and then I put an E for empty, and I record how many times I empty it. When it gets to a certain number, I'll change it. I'll change the bag. So you just take the bag off, like I put it back on, take the bag off, change the bag. You can at the same time have a look at the hole around the stoma. If it's degraded too much, then you replace the whole lot. But these can last, if you've got it right and your skin is okay. It's going to last quite a long time, 4 or 5 days without having to change it. So that's the so Sunday, and I sometimes put up here because when I change the bag it's gone, so I put a Sunday there if it gets in a couple of places in case it gets wiped off. Right, so Sunday, both. And the nice thing about this one is that you can stick it up inside, and also when you're emptying, it's got a very nice end piece. Let me show you another one. This one here, that's the emptying bit. Some of them are cut off here and it's hard to open it. This one is nice. You can just open it up and, you know, clean whatever you need to clean, and then just fold it up. It's nice and simple. Beautiful. It took me a long time to find these that were good for my skin. I tried several, and the one pieces, you can only fit them one way, and if they come in the way of your lumps and bumps, you can end up with leakages. With these, like I said, I move them around so that it's, they come like that. That's the top, but I move mine sideways so that I can then cut out the shapes I need for my lumps and bumps. Works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't, because I get it in the wrong place, but most of the time I'm getting them around that bump. Okay, so now that one's got to go there. I've got to get some more gauze to put in the water. And we'll do the urostomy. So it doesn't, after a while, it doesn't take too long to do this, and you just work at your own pace. Get rid of all the stuff that you've used before. And sometimes I don't do them together. It's just that I had a shower today and I decided that it was time to change them both, and I would do this video, which I've been planning for a while. Anyway, let's hope the video helps a few people to understand a bit more about changing. It's not difficult, just don't panic and you'll be okay. And it took, like I said, it took me a long time to find these. I went through most of the samples. I tried a few for a week at a time, and I did have one particular one I was using for a while, but it was too thick and it kept giving me a problem as far as my leakages was concerned with the urostomy. Not pleasant waking up wet, and so I decided to look for something else. Did a bit of research on the internet, had a look at a few, had a look at some videos which were very helpful. There's a lot of very good videos out there, but I'm not sure about the double baggers. That's why I'm doing this one. What I normally do is I put a little pot here under for my urostomy in case it leaks. So I've got something to, while I'm doing it. And I did, when I first had them, I used to call these Pinky and Perky, because that's the pinky one. This is the perky one because it had a mind of its own, or has a mind of its own, and it would go off whenever it wanted to. Invariably when I've put the barrier wipe on, so I had to do it all over again and wash it off. So as you can see, it's a little leaky today. Try and keep my area as clear as possible at the time, and I'm going to clear up. As you can see, the urostomy goes in and out. It gets smaller and larger Whether you touch it, it goes in. It's a very strange muscle, but I actually call these two now my two new mates because they go everywhere with me. I do everything with them, and I've embraced them since the word go, because they saved my life, and I'm very thankful. So taking care of them is not a hard job at all. Like I said, you just have to be patient, don't panic. At the beginning you will panic because it's an unknown quantity, you just don't know what you're doing. Right, as you can see, it's decided to have another little leak. Right, let's have a look. Have a bit of, and I cut it in half just to try and be gentle along the edges to soak up any urine that there is on the edges of the stoma, but try not to get it stuck, because then you've got to wash it all off again. As you can see, it's got a bit smaller again. Put that in there, get another piece of gauze. You get large ones and you can get small, and they're complementary items, these ones, from Coloplast. So you can put that over it while you're getting yourself organised, try and stop any leakage. Again, I've forgotten to put that in there, but that's important that we heat up the base plate prior to it going on, otherwise it's just going on to something that is going to be cold. It will be cold and it won't adhere as well. Just while I'm doing that, I'll just make sure that's all okay. Right, and then it's time to get that on. One thing I did find out early on is not to drink anything too much, or anything, I would say. If you're going to change in the morning, don't drink any water prior to you doing this, because it's such a short distance it goes, it will erupt when you don't want it to, and that is really frustrating. Right, that's that. What's that? Like I said, this little drip thing here, just to stop it from. And if it does start to drip when you're doing this, I have a mirror as well. I've got a mirror here, like this one, that I can see into, and it's a ×2 mirror, so you can have it a reasonable way from you. So there we go. Hopefully might need a little bit more drying. Just checking all the time that it's not going to drip, and if it does, I lean forward it over the bowl. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Put that there. Take this off, and hopefully that top bit, you see See the crevices, the holes here and here, goes round those. Before it used to go over it and it would be a bit of a problem, so and having this Convex pushing in, it helps to, when it expands, it'll come out and fill the hole. So don't worry about it. Make sure that you cut the right size hole in where it should go. Like I said, these are 50mm. You can get different sizes. People have different shapes, stomas, different size stomas. Right. And that's really it as far as putting it on is concerned. You can see it's stuck quite nicely. It's going round my bumps, my scars, and it's adhering to the skin as opposed to going over the top of them. So, meant to anyway, let's put it that way. You can cut whatever you want out. I find there's been no problem in cutting them. I've had no leaks whatsoever, and I find this is a very good system that works for me, and it works for my skin, because some of them gave me really sore skin, but it's up to you. It's trial and error, and I do advise that you get as many samples as you can. Try and do a and don't forget to do the end up as well, because it comes like that. Sometimes you forget and you end up with a wet leg, but you'll find that out. And also nice with this, it doesn't hang, it sits in there, so you can pull it up. The other thing with this one is you actually got another little thing here, little tab, where you can put that, if you want it shorter, you can stick it up there. So it makes the whole thing snug. Not as big as it would be, so it's quite snug. Got a lot going for it. And of course you can see through the window on this one how things are going. I also put inside on the filter, I put one of these little tabs, and I put it on this filter here, and that stops me pancaking. What it does is it allows air in, and it's helped a great deal in allowing it to go down inside rather than sitting up here. So it's what I always do now. If I don't do it when I'm sitting down, I always end up with it up the top, and I think, what have I done wrong? It's because I haven't put one of those on. They all come with your bags. Whatever bags you have, you should have these little sticky tabs. And really, that's it. The products I use, there's many different types. Like I said, there's the lubricants you can get in sachet form. Same with the barrier wipes. You can get those in salts, in all the products, in Brava. Brava's very good for my skin, if you can get it. And these little squares, they come already, the gauzes come already quartered. Otherwise they come like this, which is a big gauze, quite nice for wiping down because it's very soft, really nice. Once handled, of course, throw it away. Certainly with this pandemic going on. Well, there we are. I hope that's been a bit informative for you, a bit constructive, and I hope somebody somewhere benefits from this video of mine. This is my first one, so if there's any you would like to know about anything, you write it down. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.